Well, it's finally here. It is finally Adidas season. And what I mean is obviously it's been Adidas season, but we know what the jerseys look like. We know what three of the four colors that are getting released this week look like as we record this on Wednesday evening, July, what is it, the 8th. And so dark mode to go, but the oranges, the whites, the Summit blues have all been released to at this point today, and it's a good time. It's the media teams have been incredible in their work. Shout out to Noah the Boa and his directing masterpiece that is these release videos. And it's a good time. So welcome to the Rocky Top Rundown. We're going to talk Adidas, to talk DGG's Uncle's interview, and then wrap up with a little bit of baseball because there's been movement on all these fronts, and it's been an exciting couple of days. But before we get into that, Logan, how are we doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. Won a game of Mario Party before we got on here. Been playing the college football game. About to play Ohio State for the national championship in year one.
Nice.
So, in relishing the last few days of summer break before I start my school schedule back because I'm on the year-round school schedule. So I start
Right.
work on Monday.
Nice. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, just been chilling.
Yeah, and the college football game has come out, and I don't. Logan, what are your thoughts on the college football video game? We haven't talked about that yet, but
Oh, it's great. It is
we're
great.
4 games in, 4 days in.
Yeah, the realism is phenomenal. Player movement is much better, especially with the dynamic weather and everything.
Yeah,
Player movement is more realistic. Um, there's a lot of good additions to it. I know people are mad about some microtransaction stuff, but that's not really like it don't really affect the game so much. I don't guess like you can still play it for the reasons we like to play it.
right.
Um, so yeah, no, I think it's a lot of fun, and they're 3 for 3 on. They've made each release better as they've gone on. So
Yeah,
we've
I'll
got
be
our
interested.
online dynasty going. We're waiting for you to play Indiana, and
Yeah, as I take over the South Carolina program and try to figure out if it is a rebuild or a one and done.
if I say going
Recruiting
to
is tough.
SEC rival,
Well, it was one of the best options available
that's true.
since you took the Big Ten, Jonathan took the ACC. We saw what
Yeah.
happened when you took the Big 12 last game, and it was not good. So, but yeah, I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are on the microtransactions when it gets time for us to be capped out with what we can really do in a reasonable amount of time as far as coach upgrades go.
Well,
But
that's true.
we'll see. So, but before we get into that, I just want to start off the show by saying thank you to all the support that we've gotten and that we continue to receive. We really appreciate it. And one simple ask that costs you nothing but 5 seconds of your time, which is to make sure you're subscribed, to make sure you are following the channel, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever it may be. And then also make sure that you are sharing. Let people know if you enjoy what we're saying and talking about. Share it with someone. They probably will enjoy it too. I've said it before, but I always thought it was funny how Wes Rucker was like, "Hey, there's best way to make friends is to find someone in Orange and hand them a podcast." And I don't know that I agree with the statement, but if there's someone in Orange, they're most likely going to want to talk about Tennessee and Tennessee sports and athletics, and that's what we're doing. And so we really appreciate all the support that we've gotten. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. We're wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube and as well TikTok and Instagram. So, Logan, let's hop into the Adidas uniforms. Up to this point, we have gotten to see the orange, the whites, and the Summit blues. Football has been kind of the big topic of conversation. Primarily, I think the biggest conversation was with the whites, the away uniforms for football. The fact that they did not have the orange collar and that the black outline was not chosen to be part of this uniform series. But I think overall, the overwhelming sentiment around the Adidas reveals and what Adidas has produced is positive. People seem to be very happy with the orange. It is very clear with what they've communicated that Nike, or not Nike, sorry, Adidas and Tennessee. Adidas and Tennessee wanted to be very intentional with the orange that they put out there for Tennessee to wear. And I think, in overall, the orange, it looks good. Everything that they've released so far has been good. If I'm being critical of a sport, just saying, I think been underwhelmed so far. I think I've been a little underwhelmed with what baseball's put out. But I also understand that these are foundational pieces, and that'll be okay. But overall, it has been, I think, a very positive thing for the program, the athletic program as a whole. So, Logan, what are your thoughts on the Adidas stuff?
Uh, I think I'm more underwhelmed by football than I am baseball. I think the baseball, uh, the orange baseball jerseys are perfect. The Vol script, like I think it is great. I think they nailed that. The white, I like the white baseball better than I like the white football. So I guess I got baseball ranked ahead of football for me. I think they butchered football a little bit. I was telling you yesterday. The more I had to stop looking at them because the more I looked at them, the more I started to dislike them. Um, the most important thing is, which you pointed out, which is 100% true, is that they got the orange right finally. And Adidas struggled for a long time to get the orange right, and they did get the orange right, 1,000%. I just think the numbers are kind of tacky looking. They're like too big and bubbly or whatever. Um, and then I missed the orange collar on the jersey. I think the orange collar on the jersey was great. Um, I'm not a black outline guy. I don't like the black outline look, but I like the orange collar look. So, I mean, I think they did fine. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think I like them quite as much as I was hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers took me a second of just. I think at first I had a similar response to you about the numbers, but the more I look at them, I've gone the other way where I think I like them. You put them side by side with the 98, the early, wow, no, the late 90s uniforms, and it's pretty good as far as comparison goes. I think going from maybe Nike and that Nike font to the Adidas font that we've gotten has been a little bit of whiplash, but I think overall I like the direction that it's gone. I think it looks much better under shoulder pads than what they'll sell for retail. I think I don't know. I didn't like the numbers on like Peyton when he was wearing it in the reveal, the video. But I think overall the numbers were good for being on a jersey that's over pads, and I think that's the big difference for me. I think when it comes to football as a whole, I'm glad the orange collar is gone for the white jerseys. I know that is a 50-50 opinion, but I really like just how clean the white uniforms look, and how unbroken they kind of are. And I know that I say that as also being a proponent for the black outline, but I saw someone put the black outline on the white uniforms, and it made me feel even better about the black outline should have been there. But at the same time,
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and just be like, TV has come so far to where I don't know that the black outline is as needed as it once was. Because, it's so easy to see stuff on TV now because of how high definition these games are and what they're broadcast in. Whereas before, as I'm watching older games, it would have been hard to see the numbers on the away uniforms without the black outline.
yeah. I mean, I think the black outline looked bad because I think it changed the orange. I thought the orange looked worse with the black outline.
Mm,
Like it made it. I don't know, but I no, I thought the best thing Nike did outside of putting back in the original Nike ones where they had the stripe on. I'm not a big two stripe on the pants guy, and they've had that for a long time. So this is not an Adidas
right.
thing. They've had this with Nike the last couple years, but um, uh, the best thing Nike ever did was the stripe down the pant that was checkerboarded. That was awesome. And I thought the second best thing they did was the orange collar. I think the orange collar looks awesome on the white uniforms. Um, so so yeah, I think that's my two biggest thing. I don't know. Just the more I look at them, I just don't think the number font's good. Like I don't think it really. Yeah, it is what it is at this point. But there's some about it just doesn't look right. And I have to get like the orange ones look a lot like what's the word I'm looking for? I guess they look nicer. If I look at the white ones too long, they start to give me practice uniform vibes a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know if that's maybe because it's the all white. I don't know, but um, I do think like on the picture you sent with the black outline, if you're gonna do the black outline, that can't be the only black on the jersey if
That's
they're
fair.
ever to go to that. Like the Adidas logo and the SEC logo or something, you got to be like black as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't.
Um,
I don't disagree.
but then now I'm curious too. Like, are they going to wear orange and white cleats, or are they going to wear black cleats?
I I don't know. I mean, it. You know, I think I don't. I don't. I think the days of wearing black cleats only are probably gone because
That's all they've been wearing is black cleats. They hadn't been wearing orange and white cleats.
really,
Yeah.
I'm not ever paid attention. I would just assume that Heupel and his program would allow them to wear whatever color cleats they want, like with the
No,
color
no, they're
scheme.
no, yeah, no, they don't know. We haven't been wearing colored cleats. It's been
Just white and
black.
black.
Yeah, what pretty much black, which is a whole other topic, but you don't ever wear black shoes with white socks. Shout out to
Right.
Wes Rucker, I agree. But that's what Tennessee's done. So
Hmm.
uh
I mean, I
yeah.
haven't paid enough attention to the shoes, but even in the reveal, like Braylon Staley's wearing primarily white cleats with black accents, but no orange. Um, and see, that's what I thought. No, George McIntyre was wearing orange and white cleats in the spring game, or one
In
of
the spring
their.
game maybe, but not during the regulars, not during football games.
Yeah.
I'm talking about during the regular season.
No, it looks like uh, no, I see orange in these cleats. I see orange in
Okay.
Braylon's cleats. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought they were wearing white, orange, and black, but within Tennessee's color scheme.
Okay.
So,
I've never noticed that. The ones I know more the majority of the guys wear black cleats, I think.
right.
But um so maybe so. Well, that's good. But
Yeah. And it just
um
depends, too, on the player. Yeah, not that he's a good example, but Boo Carter in this picture is wearing orange and white cleats. So, but maybe that was his problem. So,
well,
and
it's this. I am nervous for the smoky gray uniforms whenever they come out. I'm like,
mm,
I feel like Adidas is like I'd rate these football uniforms like what, like the whites maybe like a 6.5, and the orange a 7 out of 10.
yeah,
Like, I think that's pretty fair. I don't think that's like overly critical.
right.
Like I don't think they hit a home run.
But
And
I
then
don't.
maybe the 10's a little bit higher. Maybe the orange. Sorry, maybe the orange is a little bit higher because they got everything about the orange is really pretty fantastic except for I don't think the number of font's great. So maybe that's like an 8.5.
Right.
Um, but like it makes me nervous about the smoky gray. Like
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I guess, but I think at the same time, you didn't want these. What else did they need to do for them to be a 10 out of 10? They were just being they didn't mess with it. They changed the number font a little bit, which is what it is. I do like the 4 and how it's closed on this one much better. But I mean, overall, I think that Adidas did what Adidas was supposed to. They did their job.
Yeah,
And I think the fact that everyone is just kind of like, meh, is what you wanted. You didn't want
yeah.
them to
Well, I
come
mean,
in
taking
and
away the
try to.
orange collar downgrades it from too,
Right. And there are a
which is
lot of people
just
that feel that
personal
way.
opinion.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that don't feel that way. A lot of people are really glad that
Correct.
it's gone too.
Correct. So I think
So
I think the I think the white uniforms for football are probably the most polarizing of everything that's been released, but overall it's been good. I love that basketball stayed essentially the same.
basketball 10 out of 10. That is how you got the 10 out of 10. Basketball 10 out of 10. No questions. Perfect. Don't need to change anything. Does it look kind of weird with the Adidas logo on it? Yes.
Yeah.
But like basketball was 10 out of 10. Perfect. They look awesome. They're great.
Yeah. Lady Vols
Uh,
basketball with the white and the
really
orange
good.
with the summit blue accents in the trim, I thought was
And
a
softball,
fantastic
great.
touch.
And
Yes.
softball, great.
Yeah.
Then, like I said, baseball pretty close to a 10 out of 10 on
I
the orange.
I did not like the
Um,
white. I'll be honest. I don't like the font that is on the white, which I'm trying
I
to
gotta look
figure
at
out how
it.
close that is to the the I don't know. That font just looked out of left field to me a little bit. Like it doesn't look like anything that Tennessee has in their font packages, and it doesn't necessarily look extremely Adidas either. It just looks like a random font, and so I just thought that was interesting. The number is the same as what's on the football jersey, but I didn't. I was
Well,
not
the
a
the 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 baseball font is similar to what Nike has done with Tennessee's font. It's
I guess
Tennessee
yeah,
State
you're right.
font.
I see that.
It's like they're all the state of Tennessee font.
Okay. Okay, I see
So
that.
like, is it a? I don't know. I like it. I think I like it better than this last Nike jersey than with just the one power T.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Um, like maybe it's a little. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, and no disrespect to the guy. You're talking about how these football jerseys look better with pads on. Blaine Brown doesn't exactly fill out a baseball uniform either.
Well, that's fair.
So like, what does that look like on Levi Clark?
That's fair.
And I don't want to be. I don't. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm really not.
Right.
But like, if you look at just the different like, and like Cam doesn't really either, but the orange just looks good. But like
Right.
that orange looks great on Levi Clark.
Yeah.
What does Levi Clark look like in the white too? Does that help it at all?
Right.
Um, like yeah, there's a little plainness, but I'm not sure. Like I don't know what else you would do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
Overall, I think the fact that all the jerseys were like, yeah, that's pretty good, is exactly what you wanted.
yeah,
You didn't want anything else. So,
sure.
excited to see the dark modes tomorrow. With that, I don't, and again, I anticipate that just being like, okay, cool, because I think that what Adidas has done with like Texas A&M and Mississippi State's blackout uniforms are great, and I think they've shown they've got the right orange. So just put that orange on black and it'll be good. So what? And again, the only thing that I would be curious to know is if they change the helmet for blackout for dark mode, which I don't think they will. We've talked about that. You have to have the power T on the side of the helmet. So that would be the only thing that would make me that I would be interested to see if they did something different, either with the dark mode or the smoky grays. But dark mode releases tomorrow.
Yeah,
Smoky grays will be sometime next month.
yeah, that'll be interesting to see. You know the. I'm curious. I think I'm open to them changing the dark mode a little bit.
Okay.
I,
What would you want
I
changed?
I'm just curious. I'm wondering if they'll put lettering on it on the front. Like, will they put vols on the front or something
Script
like that?
falls?
Yeah, something like that. Now, and I'm not sure. I'm not saying it would look good. I'm not even sure that I want it.
Yeah.
I'm open to seeing it though.
Yeah.
Because
I
like,
would
doesn't Texas
be.
A&M like don't they have an alternate that says like Aggies above the numbers or something?
It says Aggies on the helmet. The black
Yeah, I
does.
know they have that, but I thought they had something like a. I don't know. I'm just. I don't know that I want that. I'm not saying that. That's just something that's popped in my head. Like, are you going to change the black, the dark mode jersey? Because I'm curious to see. Like, we know they're going to do something with the smoky grays, and maybe they don't. Maybe they just keep black the same. And if they keep dark mode the same, that's fine.
Right.
But I'm just curious: is will they kind of try to change it up a little bit?
Yeah. No, I'm looking and I don't see everything that's coming up for A&M's like alternate stuff is old. Which looking at this again, and we knew Tennessee's Smoky Grays were pretty good, but Texas A&M's Grays that they had, what was that, 2 years ago? Those are pretty nice.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah, I'll be interested to see. I would be open to this to dark mode maybe being a different like a throwback logo on the side of the helmet, like the interlocking T, which we've talked about that. But I'd be curious, if they follow. I'm also curious. I'm curious just in general because baseball and basketball essentially had the same dark mode. Football is pretty basic. So, is there a overall theme, and what sports are getting a dark mode uniform? Because I don't think softball or women's basketball has it. So, I wonder if they're going to get a dark mode or if they sit out since they get Summit Blue. I don't know.
no, they'll sit out. They'll sit out because they get some blue. I'd imagine. Although softball and dark mode would look sick.
Yeah, it would.
I think.
I
I don't know
think.
about lady balls.
I mean, here's the deal.
Dark mode
Imagine
with
dark
Summit Blue
mode with the
accents.
Summit Blue accents. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, it probably would.
So,
It probably would.
but all right, let's move on to the next thing on the agenda for tonight. David Gabriel George's uncle, who's kind of he and his uncle and this aunt are big portions of his recruiting process, and they've been along the ride with him and things like that. And so, who from On Three was it? I should have this written down. That's what I thought. Steve Wiltfong, got to sit down with DGG's uncle and talk with him about the recruiting process and everything. And if you haven't read it, it's on Three. If you don't want to pay to see it, you can probably find an article somewhere that's giving you the highlights. But we'll give you some insights to what it says. So it opens up with just the statement of his uncle saying he already made his decision. We had our meeting last week. We went through the three programs and how he feels about them and how he feels about his opportunity to play right away and his opportunity to make it to the league in 3 years. We had that conversation last week, and he's very comfortable with that decision. It goes on through there talking about the relationships, what schools are in it. So Tennessee, Ole Miss, Ohio State, and then some highlights on the three schools. Ole Miss got one paragraph, and it pretty much was like, yeah, they were great. Ohio State got maybe twice of what Ole Miss got, and then Tennessee received probably three times what Ohio State got. Now, Ohio State was interwoven. His uncle ends up comparing Tennessee and Ohio State, and so that kind of counts for Ohio State as well. But there was significantly more about Tennessee than there was about Ohio State. So I wanted to read some of the quotes, and then we can discuss. So he gets to
Okay.
Tennessee, and his uncle says, "Tennessee, it's different. That's where we have the best relationships overall. We might have the best position coach relationship with Coach Locke. Been around him a long time, but I think overall when it comes to a staff, the best relationships are with Tennessee." He goes on to say that he sees how hungry the Tennessee fan base is. He's on the message boards, things like that. But he thinks that David would be good anywhere he went. He says that he could go to James Madison and do good. But he says in terms of how hungry the fan base is at Tennessee, it would be insane for him to be very successful there. I feel like if a player of David's caliber goes to a team like that, I feel other players would follow. Goes on and says, if you compare Ohio State to Tennessee, this is where it all gets mixed in. I feel like if you're a big time player, you can go to a team and they'll build something around you and they can have their best 3 years in history. Tennessee may not be Ohio State the next 10 to 15 years, but your 3 years there could be the best years of Tennessee. You can take it the distance. Sanders will be there. I think Faison will be the starter. I think it's two very different situations, but I think he can be successful in both. I'm not saying he can't become a legend at Ohio State. I truly believe in my nephew. David will do what he does. He's the best running back in this class, and it's not even close. I feel wherever he goes, he'll be something different, but I feel sometimes when you're part of a machine yourself, you're just another great player in that machine. When you go to another team where they need you, and Ohio State's are saying we need David, Ohio State doesn't need David. Ohio State can go in the portal and get a couple of good running backs, and they'll probably try and flip someone else if David doesn't go there. He goes on to say that he essentially is just saying that he's not saying that David is going to Tennessee, but he also says that he would be the main guy at Tennessee, and who doesn't want to try to run the ball 300 times a year. So, all that to say, Logan, does that give you more or less confidence when it comes to GGG and his commitment?
I'll be honest with you. That interview, like I was feeling pretty down, and then I read that interview, and I was like, "That looks really good."
Yeah.
Like that looks really good. Um, so I don't know. I'm still not getting my hopes up because it just doesn't feel like. I know that's not really true. We got David Sanders, we got Faison Brandon, we got Tyreek Key. Um, we got not Tyreek, Tristan Keys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten big guys. So, but like I'm still not trying to get my hopes up on this one. Um, but Ohio State, I think, is starting to panic. That's why them and Ole Miss both offered his roommate, who had offers from like Liberty
Yeah, I was going to
and
say,
teams like that. Like
yeah.
I don't even know that it was Liberty, but it's teams of that
I
level.
think he was smaller than that.
Yeah, so it's like they're going into desperation mode. Heupel's got the best relationship with him. Um, they like it here. I think Tennessee's in a really good spot. If you listen, Austin Price thinks they're in a good spot. He's not guaranteeing anything. He thinks it could change on the daily,
Mhm.
but
Swain, Jason Swain was on as today's episode in hour one was talking. They're talking about most anticipated recruits and things like that, and I noticed he was only listing off recruits that Tennessee had gotten, and then
yeah,
he said on yesterday's episode, I believe, that he would know early, but he's not going to tell anyone. So it just yeah, as you're saying though, it just seems like there's a
yeah.
lot of positive momentum for Tennessee.
Well, there it is, and it's looking really good now because now the Ohio State message boards and mods of On3 are saying his aunt and uncle are trying to get money out of this, like they're making crooked deals for him, and like they're starting to panic over there on the OSU stuff, and like their moderators are saying stuff. Their moderators are calling out Austin Price and like bringing up legend base stuff from back in signing day. I'm sure we touched on that back then.
Which that's a different scenario. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what are they saying about Legend Bay? Because that was
I,
a
I don't
situation.
know. I think they're using Legend Bay as an example to like discredit Austin Price or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Legend
I don't
Bay,
know. I haven't read it all.
he was
I'm putting
committed
it all out
here,
there. And yeah, I don't know.
and then
So
okay, that was a weird scenario. Like you can't whatever.
so that's okay. They're just like their school. Screw Ohio State.
True.
Um. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But everything that's coming together makes you feel like it makes you feel good about Tennessee's shot, anyways.
Yeah.
Like you got to at least be somewhat confident that
Yeah.
hey, this could be turning out the way we need it to.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting too when you look at it and you see how much Tennessee is mentioned versus the other two.
Yeah,
And when DGG has to tweet, I didn't say anything. Then it's like, all right, maybe the cards were tipped a little too much, and which is there has not been a lot of leaks through this recruitment process. This is the most
sure.
that anyone's gotten, and so I think the fact that he says the things that he does, especially in the end, where he's like, "You're just gonna go be part of a machine at Ohio State, whereas you can be a star at Tennessee."
Sure.
And it's
Yeah.
100% true. I mean, you're gonna sit here and tell me Jamal Lewis pays for his meal in Knoxville,
Yeah.
and that is between Lewis and it seems like the best comp for DGG is a mix between Jamal Lewis and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Kamara is
That's a
his,
heck of a comp, by the way.
it is. But it's like his favorite running back that he grew up watching was Kamara. He literally got to sit with him his entire or the night of his official visit. So I just think overall, it's Tennessee's in a good spot. And I think the fact that you already have guys like David Sanders and Faison Brandon here, TK Keys, you've got other like Mike Matthews, you've got these things where, I mean, if you're a running back of DGG's caliber that enjoys being part of the passing game and wants to be part of the passing game, show off those skills, things like that, how would you not want to be part of Heupel's offense? I mean, Heupel's best two running backs are both 3 stars.
Yeah.
So what happens when he gets a 5-star? Because I mean, you could make the argument that maybe Jalen Wright is better than Deshaun Bishop, but I think by the end of this year we'll all be saying that Deshaun Bishop is better than Jalen Wright. Now Deshaun Bishop's going to get
Now,
the
I think Dylan Sampson's better than all of them.
correct, but I'm
Okay.
saying like, but
You're saying
Jalen
add
Wright
that
was at
tier
least a
after.
4-star when he
Yeah.
came out of high school, and so I think that. But I think at the end of this season, it'll be Dylan Sampson, Deshaun Bishop, then Jalen Wright when you're talking about best running backs Heupel's had.
Yeah.
So, it's like, what happens when a 5-star gets in there? And, I mean, yeah, dude's insane. You watch him, and it's just like, it's not fair for him to be playing high school right now. He could have come into college. He could have been part of this year's class and still been, maybe not a 5-star, but he would have been a high 4-star.
Yeah. Can you
And,
imagine how much fun it'll be to watch him if he does go to Tennessee?
oh, yeah, for everyone.
Like,
And then that opens it up to, it just, you also, big picture, if you can land this one and then Baylor continues to be a hub of talent in the country and that pipeline continues and remains strong, like that's also a big thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about because it's like a cherry on top type thing. But if you can continue to win the big recruiting battles out of Baylor, that's also huge. And then maybe Macaulay comes down at some point and actually has a bunch of D1 talent that schools are interested in. Because I know they have good players, but there's not been the same amount of interest out of Macaulay players as there have been Baylor, which if you don't know, Macaulay is like the crosstown rival. It's always Baylor and Macaulay in the state championship game in that division. But I think the other part of this that is really interesting that no one's talking about is the fact that his uncle just casually is like, yeah, Faison's the starter.
Yeah,
And
that's what he thinks for sure.
I mean, that's what he thinks. They've gone to practices. They are talking to people and getting a feel of the locker room because that's all you're doing on these visits. And so the fact that his uncle is saying that he thinks Faison is a starter, I mean, it really does seem like it may be Faison's battle to lose.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, the fact that it's even now means that Faison outperformed George in the spring.
Right.
And at this point, now you're paying George a lot of money too.
Yeah.
But you're paying Faison a lot of money. You get him for an extra year,
Mm-hmm.
assuming it all goes well. Like all things equal, if they both really take off like you're hoping they will, you technically have Faison an extra year.
Yeah.
And like the guy that you don't play this year is leaving. He's not going to be
Correct.
here. Like that just is what it is.
Correct.
So, yeah, I think we're all just kind of on the Faison train now. If it's George McIntyre, I'll get behind it 100%. He won the job. He's talented. That's fine. But I think everybody thinks it's going to be Faison.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think long term it's probably the right decision for the program. Even though at one point I was very much on the George McIntyre train, the more that I read, thought, all of that, and really, Brooks Austin was really who swung me. Just talking about the difference in their competition level,
The
and
film guy.
the film guy, but also just the fact that Faison Faison is a winner, and I'm not saying George is not, but I'm saying that Faison knows how to win at the highest level in the state of North Carolina, which is an underrated recruiting bed of talent in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And George couldn't get past Baylor and McCallie, which maybe that's not fair because those are two national powerhouses and you're
Yeah.
working with
Well,
the rich kids in Brentwood, but
well,
still.
and 2 of his years, I mean, they had losing records.
Correct.
Like they weren't, I mean, and that's not completely fair either. But like, you have to elevate. Like, you would think a high level Division I quarterback would elevate enough to where you're gonna he's gonna outclass the teams you're playing at that level, anyways.
Right.
For at least like a 500 record or something.
Right. Yeah, you would hope, especially at that level when it's. I mean, a lot of it is just. It's different than public school ball, and sometimes that's better. That means it's better, but sometimes it doesn't. And I would argue that when you compare the two levels of competition, Faison probably faced much better competition in high school. So,
Yeah.
but speaking of levels of competition, Tennessee baseball was up and down in its last year. And after their final loss, Elander said that things needed to change, similar to what Rick Barnes said after their final loss. And they are in the midst of their portal tear. And Logan, Tennessee, and I know they've probably gotten some others since the last time we talked baseball, but Tennessee baseball was able to go out and get Mr. Chris Ramirez from California Baptist University. Now, this was one that the rumors and everything, message boards were saying that the commitment had happened verbally, maybe 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was late June at the minimum, so I would say 2 weeks ago. And then he finally posted on Monday or Tuesday, or Sunday or Monday.
Something like that.
And so Tennessee officially gets Chris Ramirez to commit. He is coming from, like I said, California Baptist University, where he was he shortstop?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you found the other part of your infield, your middle infield, which is huge. But you're also bringing in a guy that is very solid at the plate. This last year, he had 71 runs, 98 hits, 42 RBIs, 21 stolen bases, and had a 389 batting average. And,
Yeah.
we've talked about it before with these other transfers. It doesn't matter what level of ball you're playing. Those are great numbers.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I mean, he's the number one shortstop in the portal for a reason, right?
correct.
Like, and I mean, the best part about him is he's gonna be elite in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Mike Wilson did a great job with him, went in depth with him on 3 of VolQuest, and I think in one of the articles talked about how his dad trained him when he was young, and he wasn't allowed to touch a bat until all his infield work was done. So his dad really emphasized infield work, and so he's the first guy that can really hit the ball. This was one they were kind of waiting on. He kind of sweated it out a little bit because it took forever for him to announce it.
Right.
But this is the big get that they needed. it was a really good 7 days for the baseball team because we didn't have it in our notes because I it slipped my mind too. But the Grim Reaper's also back.
Oh yeah, we did not
So
talk about that.
and everybody knows, I'm sure, how I felt about Blake Grimmer last year. That being said, the numbers don't lie, and I mean, like every other player, I would assume a massive jump from year one starting to years two starting. So
Yeah.
it's a huge, huge retention for Tennessee.
Where do you think he goes?
So
Do you think he stays at second, or do you think he's going to move to third?
I think he'll play third. They don't have a third baseman right now,
Yeah.
and you've got the Wyatt. Shoot, what's the kid from Air Force and
Yeah.
Ramirez at second and short. Um, I think he got some work in left field. Um, so maybe assuming Blaine Brown gets better defensively, Blaine Brown would probably be your right fielder,
Yeah.
which would leave I don't know who in center.
Right.
I
I
think
don't.
that's one that's open for a transfer or something, and then maybe Grimmer and left. I don't know. They got some things they can do to work with that stuff. Maybe one of those
Grindlinger's going to have to
catchers
go
play.
somewhere. He can't be just another DH this year. Like
Yeah.
you're going to want him
So
in the field.
yeah. So I don't know. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll figure that out, I guess, as we get closer. But yeah, getting Ramirez and Grimmer the last 10 days has been massive for the baseball team.
Yeah. And with that, the other thing to watch this weekend is what happens with the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jared Grindlinger, who it's this year's his draft year, right? So,
Yeah.
if somehow, some way he gets to campus, and who's the other recruit? Do you remember?
I can't remember, but he's weighted just a smidge higher than Grindlinger. So
Yeah.
I don't think you're getting both of them. If you could somehow get one of them, especially Grindlinger, just because we know his brother. So I'm gonna say Grindlinger's one I want more. Whatever. If you can get one of them, but
I think he's the more likely of the two. Like you're telling me you
yeah,
wouldn't want to come play with your brother?
yeah.
But it's also I don't you would know this better than I would. How much do top 10 picks make in the MLB draft?
Millions.
So not
About
even not
about
nothing
about
Tennessee could
five
even
times more than what the NIL though.
sick. So there
Yeah.
is no shot.
It
It's
won't be a
essentially
money thing. It won't be a money thing.
it would
It'll
be
be because he
strictly
wants
to
to go
play
to
with his
college or
brother.
play with his brother.
Yeah, that's
Like I don't like. Let me just.
Logan's doing some googling for those that are listening. Your audio did not cut out, I promise. But
Sorry, that was really bad. But I was trying to do bad pocket. I was trying to do quick. So he's projected top 15 pick.
mhm.
The 10th pick slot value is just over 6 million.
Yeah, no.
So that would be top 15. I would assume at worst like 3 million ish.
Yeah.
And Tennessee doesn't have a guy on the roster. They're paying $1 million. I don't think. I
No.
doubt it.
No, I doubt it.
So baseball
Yeah.
just doesn't work that heavy as a NIL, thing. So
Right.
yeah, it won't be just Tennessee can't match money.
Correct. It will be a true desire to just come to college, play with your brother, and things like that. But can
Or
also
maybe there's a team you really don't want to play for. Maybe he doesn't want he
that's true.
refuses to be in the Orioles organization, and that's who drafts him. Nope, I'll
So
go to college
so
for a
he
year or two.
so and this is me just not understanding how the draft works, but he can get
Well,
this is where you're talking about the leverage in the junior year and things like that. Like he can go to the draft, and if he doesn't like it, he can just say, "Hey, I'm going to college. I'll see you guys in 3 years."
correct. That being said, if a team drafts him, they've had preliminary discussions.
Right.
They're not going to, especially a first round pick, they're not going to draft a guy that's not going to play for him because then
Right.
they lose that pick.
Right.
It's not like, oh, hey, you get a redo.
Right.
So, like, you're already committing to going there if you're going to get, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
if you hear his name called on draft night in the first round, he ain't coming.
Right. So yeah, would highly recommend paying attention to Tennessee commits, Tennessee, not just high school commits, but portal commits as well. I don't think any of the portal commits right now are draft risks. Maybe one or two.
There's three of them.
Three
Three
of
of
them,
them.
okay.
One's really big, according to all three guys. And I think we don't know. We don't fully know what. Oh, actually, Mike Wilson wrote a great article on it, so I would strongly suggest everybody go if you have an on-3 membership. Go, but we have 5 eligible draft guys.
Okay.
The Parker Detmers from Louisville.
Okay. Pitcher.
Andrew Duncan, pitcher. Andrew Duncan, from Wright State.
Okay.
His wife is a Tennessee alum. Um, so him and his wife are going to talk about it. Uh, and he's the guy that hit 367 at Wright State last year and was first team All Horizon. Jake McCoy, who uh, Mike says is the biggest draft risk for Tennessee
Okay.
and the least likely to make it to the campus. He was the South Carolina transfer, left-handed pitcher, and was supposed to be a potential first-round pick before he had to undergo Tommy John surgery, I believe, before last year.
Gotcha.
And then the fourth guy is Ricky Ojeda. He's probably the second biggest one in draft risk, left-handed pitcher from UC Irvine. And then the last one, who Mike Wilson calls the most curious draft case, is Travis Sanders.
And these are all transfers.
Yes, these are and those were I think we've got 9 total transfers. Those are the 5 who are draft eligible. The 4 who are not are Ramirez, Brandon Kersey from Mercer, Wyatt Hanoan, the guy from Arizona Air Force we were talking about, and then Brody Trosclair, who fought LSU fans on Twitter, which was
Correct.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of the rundown of that. So if you can get let's just say if you get 3 of those 5 guys to campus, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
Tennessee has said, I know Mike with some more great reporting, who we get a lot of our info from because he's awesome, put out today that there's a rumor going around that there's a shortstop that committed to Tennessee. And his name he's from FIU and it's Mario Travella.
Okay.
Is the rumor. He says that's not accurate at this time. Tennessee did have interest in him at one point. But with getting Ramirez and Wyatt, they're not taking anybody else until they see how the draft plays out. So Tennessee's kind of sitting pat till after the draft, and then they'll maybe get back into the portal depending on how the draft goes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like it's gonna be most teams at this point. Just get through this weekend, see what you're losing, and then address your wounds from there.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's gonna be interesting. Make sure you're watching, and we'll be watching. We'll I don't know what we'll. I know when we get back together, we will talk the dark mode jerseys, and I'm sure some more football news is going to come out. And we also have a special episode dropping probably tomorrow. I will release it, but had a interview with a former star for Jim Knowles when Jim Knowles was at Duke. And it was a great conversation with none other than Corbin McCarthy, friend of mine, friend of the show, and you'll have to give him some grace for how he says Vols. He is a California kid, and he was saying Vols. And I was like, dude, are you Canadian or what? And but it was a great conversation, very insightful. Logan, we'll listen and maybe talk about our highlights from it. But there were some things that he said that I think should give all of us a lot of excitement of what this defense could be, especially with the context of Tim Banks and what his defense was at points. Even though it was great, there was plenty of frustrations with it. So it's going to be a good episode. Would highly recommend listening to it. I loved the conversation, but it got a little nerdy. So if you're not a football nerd, then you may not like it. But other than that, Logan, you got anything before we wrap?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, everyone. We appreciate you listening. We'll catch you next time. See ya.